Today we will be launching a probe that will be going all the way to Dres, hopefully take a lot of science data and bring it back for the almighty science so that we can unlock more of the tech tree nodes and advance science towards more crewed exploration, where we will be building interplanetary crafts, space stations, rovers, bases and whatnot. But first things first, let's get into the launch. First, we will unlock the tower, get it into the launch position, fire the engines, and up we go! Yes, in this episode I have actually skipped the build episode because I think this probe is very similar to, I think, was it the Moho probe or one of the others? I'm not exactly sure which one, guys, but it's very similar to that one. So I figured, rather than me repeating myself, I wanted to do something differently and make it for a little bit shorter and snappier episode. So we are going for a full-on ascent profile. Pretty steep, but still, you know, I'm trying to... So I've got a question, why am I constantly throttling down? Because I'm looking at the thrust-to-weight ratio, and I'm trying to keep it in the lower atmosphere around 1.8. To be exact, between 1.6 and 1.9. And here and now, I'm actually throttling it down as much as possible. I'm keeping it around 2, and now when I decouple the boosters, I have just throttled it a little bit because the apoapsis is already at 102 kilometers. So we will be gently coasting up to the apoapsis and making sure that I have queued up the maneuver node and everything will be dandy. So there are the boosters falling back to Kerbin while we align ourselves, you know, maneuver prograde, and then we will be firing our thrusters. There we go, hitting those all important fairings. Yes, and now let's set targets. You will be targeting Kerbin, and you will be targeting something else. Long range relay. Good. The flight computer is executing everything, so once again I'm playing with RemoteTech, and with signal delay will once again become an issue once we come to the Dres system, so we will need to plan our maneuvers around that. 500 meters per second to burn, and all in all the burn will be 4 more seconds as we... There we go. Beautiful. I just love how the plume becomes, you know, greenish once we are towards the end. Okay. Well, apparently there is a little bit clipping, but that's fine. Okay, we have launched the probe. And now all we need to do is basically plan for the transfer window. So if you see my alarm clock, you will see that we were actually at the point where Moho Explorer was on the way back. And the Duna cruise ship return will be in 1 year almost, so that will be one of the next things that we need to take care about. However, we are now planning the ejection towards Dres, and there we go, we have a transfer window planner. It's an old mod for an older version. I'm not using stock because it actually forces me to wait for a full year for a decent transfer, and I don't want to wait that long. I mean, Kerbals are moving on, science is moving on, and we are on GrunfWorks time. Sort of like Elon time, but except more, you know, optimistic. Yeah, there we go. Okay, so we are ready for the next maneuver burn, and that will be in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and there we go. The burn will be hefty, it's around 2000 meters per second, and to be captured at Dres, it's a significant amount of deltaV required, but I'm very confident that we will be able nonetheless. There we go, ejecting, and now we are on our cryogenic stage that is going all the way up. There we go, easy does it, chief, and there we go. Okay, so it cannot be perfect because we are not 100% aligned, so we will need to do a correction burn, which will be happening at some point, I don't know, here-ish. And then I need to add another maneuver node once I get out of Kerbin's sphere of influence that will fiddle and secure us an encounter. So this is me fiddling and trying to secure the encounter. So this is gonna be a little bit of finagling with the maneuver node and just making sure the two markers align and that we get a Dres periapsis, which we have just succeeded. And then I am actually putting this into the alarm clock, and the mission will be continuing onwards. There we go, leaving the Kerbin sphere of influence for some glorious shots, and while we're waiting to do so, we have gotten out of the Kerbin sphere of influence. We did the Moho Explorer mission that you have seen in one of my previous episodes, and now we're continuing onwards to Dres. So, the next maneuver will be happening in 2 hours. I have actually significantly reduced thrust just to make sure that our burn time is... I mean, this engine is vastly overpowered for a full-on burn. So, there we go. We do have a Dres encounter. So, I'm going to add another maneuver node, which is much closer to Dres. That will actually tweak its final approach, you know, velocity, area, and all that jazz. So right now I'm fiddling with that maneuver node to secure us a very nice low flyby. And once we get on a very close flyby, I'm planning to somewhere around 10 kilometers above the Dres surface. And I'm doing a lot of tweaks to ensure that this happens. You know, those maneuvers are pretty cheap when you do them early on, but they are really expensive the closer you get. Alright, so the burn will be happening in 339 days, and as you can see by the transfer windows, in that time frame we even managed to do the Moho approach, and we will be managing to launch a Sarnas window. So yeah, a lot of stuff happening while we are waiting for that eternal transfer to happen. There we go. Okie doke. So, finally, we are actually performing this encounter to make sure that our periapsis is quite well, and I think that our periapsis will be very, very nice once we arrive. So let's see. There we go. Periapsis is 10 kilometers, and at this point, I'm actually creating maneuver node to get us captured in the orbit of Dres. And look at this, 2038 meters per second of deltaV. We have total 1500 in this stage, which means we will need to do, you know, a burn and then eject and then another burn. Oh, hold your horses. We need to put thrust to max, and that will be 57 seconds. Okay, so time to do some math here. By the way, at the same time we were doing that, we got into the Dres sphere of influence, meaning that I'm pressing all possible science experiments just to make sure that we do transmit everything. And I know you're saying, you know, there's 162 meters per seconds delay, but guys, I mean, what's the difference? I mean, within 162 seconds things are gonna execute anyway, and I'd like to think of me, you know, pressing this available experiments is something like a remote trigger probe, where you have, you know, sensors saying, aha, we're getting within the sphere of influence. So if your altitude above, I don't know, Dres is 222 million meters, then you should be performing these experiments, and that's exactly what I'm doing at the moment. So let us enjoy the beautiful flyby, and then we will be doing another set of experiments as we get closer. Ooh, time for the glory shot. This will probably be the title shot for the episode. Hell yes. Alright. So the burn will be happening in 2 minutes and 44 seconds, right when we get towards the periapsis, and it will be executing for 57 seconds, but we need to do staging in the middle. So I'm actually not sure. We'll have to burn for 47 seconds. So 57 minus 47, 10 seconds would be remaining. So let us just do some science experiments in the meantime. I'm actually queuing them up this time, because here is a situation which could be, you know, sensitive in terms of that I mess it up. I mean, I'm just kidding. I'm probably gonna press all of the possible experiments willy-nilly anyway. So, there we go. For those that might have been asking, why have I reduced my publish rate? I'm honestly working on something really impressive, and that's like, well, since you watched all the way here, I might as well tell you. It's a mega ship that will be taking people to Duna, and it will be taking a lot of my patrons and channel members, and it's already in the works. I have already created the video. Now what is left for me is to record the audio and all that stuff. However, we are talking the build and orbital assembly video. It will be a 3-launch ship, so we will launch 3 parts and then we will be continuing it. So this is just a little bit of tip for you what will be coming in the next episode, as a little thank you for, you know, sticking with me and liking my comments. I really appreciate you, and I'm watching and reading every single comment that you guys post, so thank you very much. Alright, apparently, while I was yapping here, I have screwed up the orbital insertion, so we need to quickly now make sure that we actually activate the engine and that we do perform an orbital insertion burn. So, stage and now, yes, do the orbital insertion. We will fix it later. Right. Okay. So where are we at? Oh, we are on a collision course with Dres. Okay, it doesn't matter. At the apoapsis, we're going to be performing a correction burn just to put our periapsis above Dres. 9,000, 10,000 meters? I guess that's fine. Let's get in here and do the burn. The burn is done, which means we are now in stable orbit around Dres. Woohoo! All the science galore and everything is perfect with the world. So that means we can finally put this in a parking orbit and be done with it, simply put. All the science that has been transmitted, and maybe if we get some new science, who knows, maybe we'll transmit some more. But in the meantime, oh, we're gonna capture some glorious shots, maybe even a screenshot for today's episode? Who knows? Yeah, this looks just dang cool. Alright guys, with that being said, I'm gonna wrap it up with this episode with a total of 997 science, and I'll see you in the next one. Thanks for watching!